Peace, what's good? How y'all doing? This is ZaZa Ali. Today is Saturday, February 29th. I pray that this message reaches you in the best of health, spirit, and mind. I wanted to share with you guys, I was going to do like a classroom kind of presentation and go through some slides and kind of show you guys what I've been working on and focused on for the past couple of weeks. But my internet is really tripping. It's moving really slow. And I did a 2.5 hour class earlier, and I just did a 45-minute video that I'm going to upload. So this is like my third video of today. My voice is running thin. So what I am going to do is just share with you guys some of the downloads that I've been getting over the past couple of weeks and the stuff that I have been incorporating into my classes as well as with my clients. I just had 4 clients finish the 90-day Science of Self program, so I actually have an opening for 4 clients. So that's another reason why I'm doing this video, obviously, to let you guys know. I will, if you'd like to do a consultation, I'm going to explain to you what working with me entails, and if you're interested in doing a consultation, send me an email to info@zazali.com, and I will send you my calendar, and you can sign up for a 30-minute consultation as well as fill out the brief questionnaire to see if we'd be a good fit working together. So I just want to share some downloads that I've had and some things that I have incorporated. I write notes to myself all day long, so all this blue is all me like talking to myself. When I get thoughts, that come up in my mind, in my spirit, I write them down, and then I say, okay, I'm going to do a video about that, or I'm going to write a blog about that, etc., etc. So I just want to share with you guys some of my downloads and some of what I do in working with my clients in order for them to become their highest and best selves. One of the things that I have been focusing on, and I've created a few worksheets around this idea of controlling your inner conversation. You talk to yourself more than you talk to anybody. They say the average person thinks between 16,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. Some people say more, some people say less. But if you think about the amount of time and attention that you spend with yourself in your mind, and the nature of the conversation. Are you expecting the best, or are you preparing for the worst case scenario? Do you, have a positive, inspirational, enthusiastic perspective on life, or are you a pessimist and you expect the worst case scenario? Don't trust anybody type of energy, right? Because if that is the connotation for how you rule yourself and how you interact in the world, then that is what you are going to get as a response from everything in every aspect of your life. So one of the things that I do as I work with my clients is I help them to control that inner conversation. As we talk and I start to get a rhythm of how they think and how they express themselves, I do a lot of here's a better way to say that. Here's a better way to look at that in order to clean up any unresolved energy or turmoil or self-criticism and judgment, which we are so heavily accustomed to doing, tearing ourselves apart in our minds and in our hearts. And if you really start to observe the way you talk to yourself, especially if you're a parent, like if you think about some of the things you say to yourself and then ask yourself, how would I feel if my son said that to himself, or if someone else said that to my daughter, right? Starting to look at yourself through a lens of compassion and a lot less stringent and forceful and more nurturing and loving, especially when a lot of us come from households and environments where we may not have necessarily gotten, the emotional nurturing that we needed, the hugs we needed, the love we needed. If you know this about yourself and you're aware of some of the bad habits that you've picked up because of your upbringing, then it is incumbent upon you to start taking the role of mothering yourself, fathering yourself, etc. Right? So that's one of the things I help my clients do: change the narrative, redirect the focus and the energy from the worst case scenario, low expectations, good things don't happen for me, to I deserve the best that this life has to offer. I am exuding an abundance consciousness, and abundance has to make its way towards me. Owning and internalizing a magnetic energy of abundance and the highest goals and aspirations that you can conceive for yourself. Another thing that I've been really thinking about, because, this word mental illness is floating around. Everybody is kind of touting, mental illness is an issue. We got to be careful about mental illness. I think that a lot of people are being misdiagnosed, whether it's themselves or just, in culture in general, with mental illness. And a lot of people are really suffering from spiritual illness, quote unquote, and searching for their place in this world. And not really being in alignment and in tune with their soul's mission. And so because they are not in alignment and in tune with the soul's mission, it is carrying itself out, that caricature, so to speak, or that lack of internal connection is expressing itself sometimes mentally, sometimes physically, sometimes through drugs and alcoholism, sometimes through relationships, sometimes through, the type of businesses or work or clientele we attract, the day-to-day, experiences that we have. Let me drink some water. I've been talking way too much today, you guys. You have to excuse me. This is like I'm going on my fourth some odd hour. Misdiagnosing mental illness, or misdiagnosing the struggle of the soul to manifest its highest and best reflection, or spiritual illness, meaning not being in touch and grounded with your spiritual self, who is the highest and best part of who you are. Your physical self is only a small aspect of who you are. So misdiagnosing that lack of internal knowing, that lack of internal guidance, that lack of connection to source energy and the broader scope of why we're here, and misdiagnosing that as mental illness, misdiagnosing that as depression, or it may express itself as depression. But I believe that a lot of the turmoil and the inner strife that a lot of people are dealing with is because they have lost contact or a deep sense of connection of their higher purpose. And there are a lot of people that are running around on the hamster wheel, working jobs, paying bills, white picket fence, 2-car garage, may have money, may be struggling or suffering, may have, a fluency in business or in the corporate world, but still suffering internally. So I definitely think, and that's a part of what I do in my 90-day program, to help people to get in touch with that deeper sense of themselves, and to really start to go after not just the things that we aspire to in the physical realm, but that deeper aspect of our soul's calling, why we're here, finding our passion and learning how to express our passion through what we do in our day-to-day lives. Pray about it and let it go is another thing that I, wrote to myself, and understanding that, when I used to hear, people in Eastern thought specifically talk about, non-attachment or being detached, and not really understanding what that meant. As a mother, I'm like attached to my son. I'm attached to his life. I'm attached to what he does, his decisions. You know what I mean? Like, I love my family. I'm attached to how well they're doing, how not. Like, I didn't understand that concept of non-attachment. And I even think some people who teach about non-attachment don't really understand what it is, because their perspectives confuse me more. But as I've grown and learned about this concept of faith, and prayer and meditation, a lot of times the things that we desire to come manifest into our lives, we are in the way of it making its way to us because we are so attached. Meaning, oh my God, I want this so bad. Oh my God, I need this to happen. Well, that, oh my God, I want this so bad, that energy is constricting the space that the flow of energy needs to flow through in order for your manifestation to come to you. So faith is having pure, unadulterated, 1000% focused energy and intention on what it is that you want to manifest in your life, and not accepting any conversation, not accepting any thought, not accepting any friendships, any relationships, anything that steers you away from your soul's purpose and the things that you actually want to manifest in your life. Learning how to be non-attached to things that are getting in your way, and also non-attached meaning I've asked the universe for it. I am focusing on getting myself mentally and spiritually and energetically in alignment with it. And after that, I don't need to do anything else. That was my job. That is my job. And that really is our job in order to manifest the things that we desire and aspire to in our lives. Can you get mentally, spiritually, and physically and emotionally in alignment with the things that you aspire to in your life. That is the real goal. And that's why I work with people in a one-on-one capacity, because, it's one thing to have to go to church and have a feel-good moment, watch a video, and, you get the Holy Ghost and you start feeling some type of way, you feel clear for a moment, but then you go back out into the world and all of the naysayers and the negativity, or the people who, lost track of their goals and now they don't want you to reach yours, or, this fear-based consciousness, this lack of real spiritual understanding that is governing a lot of our society now. We run into that, and it makes us question ourselves, and it makes us doubt ourselves, and it makes us doubt our potential and what it is that we have the power to become. So when you work with me, and we meet every week, not just during the times that we meet, but actually in the interim, if you need to talk to me, if you want to text, if you're struggling with something, like, I'm here and I'm open for my clients that in that capacity, I can help you to keep reframing the narrative until the narrative for you sticks. Not telling a lie and waiting for it to stick, but telling the truth and reframing the narrative about what you've been through and what you've experienced. Well, my mother was a narcissist and she never looked out for me, and I don't know what it feels to be loved, and I've never had a strong connection and a strong emotional, relationship with another woman. Okay, well, here I am. Not only here I am, you also know what it feels like to be a young woman and to be a girl and to be a woman in that position, which naturally means that you have the expertise in order to help other girls and other women guide through those processes in order for them to become their highest and best selves. That's how you reframe the narrative. Whatever your life upbringing is, rape, molestation, come from a background of poverty, never really felt emotionally connected to your family, or come from a family that are well-to-do and don't really know how to communicate and express love. All of these different things, they are our master teachers. These are the things that help us to become who we, on a soul level, aspire to be. So it's about changing the narrative, reframing the narrative to look at life experience and all of the people that have been on our path from a perspective of how they have served us well, opposed to victim-based consciousness. Awareness of being off track or repeating patterns is progress. Let me say that again. You're aware, and I want to say this specifically to the people who I was talking to earlier in the life visioning group coaching session, one sister in particular. Your awareness of being off track or repeating patterns is progress. If you've gotten to the point now whereas 5 years ago you had problems admitting you were wrong, or problems saying you were apologetic if you had done something wrong to someone else, or accepting accountability and responsibility for your faults, and now in this present day you acknowledge, I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. I should have communicated this better. Maybe I could have, handled this in a different way, and starting to speak to and for and think about and for other people on the other side of your behavior. If you're starting to have that awareness, that is progress. And you have to give yourself credit for that. A lot of times, especially when it comes to like going after your dreams and becoming who you want to be, in your fullness, approaching this from a spiritual perspective, people get impatient. I can't tell you how many people who have actually signed up for courses with me or signed up for my online courses that never actually went through the course. Well, you have the intention of doing something that is for your best interest. You want to learn about consciousness. You want to learn about vibration or energy, but then life gets in the way, right? So remember the intention of reading the book, the intention of watching the video, the intention of wanting to feel better, of wanting to do better, is progress and a step in the right direction. And then being able to self-analyze and observe yourself is a step in the right direction. It's movement towards the ultimate goal. All of these things are movement towards the ultimate goal. The difficulty is maintaining the frequency. And again, that's why I work one-on-one with clients, so I can help you maintain that frequency, beyond just the conversations and when the bells and whistles go and lights go off in your head and you feel clarity and you feel good in that moment. And then 2 days later, you have to deal with whatever life throws your way, and then you kind of fall off and start beating yourself up for falling off, et cetera, et cetera. That is one of the benefits of working personally with me. This was a real aha moment for me. because I was talking to myself when I wrote this, but it is reflective of all of us. I said, look at the amount of shit you have to go through to become yourself. Being shaped and molded in the image of someone else, parents, family, highs and lows, loves, losses, grief, wins, setbacks, comebacks, who you have children by, life decisions, the most difficult decisions, the wins, the losses, the successes, the failures. All of it is to become yourself. Everything you've been through, everything you're going through, everything you will go through, the best of it, the worst of it, the easiest, the most difficult, the most trying, the worst people in your life, the people who did you the worst, the people who served you the best, all of it is for you to become yourself. And I had that thought to myself, like, look at the amount of shit you have to go through to become yourself, ZaZa Ali. So when you look at it from that perspective, number one, it kind of takes the edge off a little bit, right? Because it's kind of funny when you think about it. But it also takes the pressure and the strain of life that we constantly feel. You know what I mean? Like, it takes the edge off a little bit, because regardless to the best case scenario or the worst case scenario, wherever you are in your life right now, you know for a fact that it is all about becoming your best self. It's not about being punished. It's not about sin or, something you did 20 years ago that's still haunting you to this day. It's only impacting you if it's still active in your vibration and active in your consciousness, right? So the real judge and jury is you, and how you feel when you look in the mirror in the morning, and the underlying self-reflection and self-esteem that you have for yourself. But all of it is about becoming yourself. I thought that was powerful. I thought it was simple, and it was an easy pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to get back to life and deal with the reality of it, but still, like, all things work for the greater good, for sure. A lot of people have a yearning that they don't know how to answer. And this goes back to what I was talking about when it comes to mental illness and this misdiagnosis. People, depression, anxiety, take these pills, mental illness, you know what I'm saying? Post-traumatic stress syndrome. I watched a video of G Herbo, a real dope interview. I really like that young brother out of Chicago. And he was talking about post-traumatic stress disorder and, growing up in a gang-related environment and, being a witness to killings and murders and probably being a party to it as well. But just talking about, like, the impact of the mental illness that happens. And I 100% agree with that. Growing up in Oakland and being a witness to some of the things that I saw. So I definitely think that is an important aspect. But beyond that, and in cohesion with that, I should say, a lot of people are searching and yearning for something. They have an internal calling beyond what they do for work, beyond who they're married to, beyond being a mother and a father, beyond, whatever they do in their daily lives, socially, in organizations, corporations, business, etc. There's a lot of people that have an internal yearning, a spiritual learning, something at the core of their being, spiritual yearning, not learning, at the core of their being that they don't know how to answer. And not only do they not know how to answer, they don't even really know the right questions to ask themselves in order to get the answer. So that's another thing that I do with my client, finding out what your center is. What are those things or that thing that drives you on a spiritual level, on a deeper level at the core of your being that goes beyond, the personality that you've created or the person that people think you are or the roles that you play in other people's lives around you. Seeking validation will attract circumstances that make you feel invalidated. I wrote this down. So I get these downloads and they'll come. I'll just write one sentence and then it'll be like a rush of thoughts that'll come in my brain. And sometimes I write it and sometimes I just meditate on it. But seeking validation will attract circumstances that will make you feel invalidated. That goes back to what is your master teacher and where is your center, right? and the upbringing that we have, looking back at our upbringing, not from a perspective of, oh God, we got to work through this. We got to peel back the layers to make sure you're okay. No, I don't do that with my clients. Hang on, I don't do that with the people that I work with. Where our focus and intention is always about the now, being present, and about changing the narrative of the who, what, when, where, why, how, so that it can fit the trajectory of your higher self and where it is that you aspire to go and what you are becoming. I was talking to a client of mine who was talking about. Wait, who was I talking to? Was it a client? It was a client or a consultation. These are old notes from like weeks ago. But she was talking about the fact that she hadn't been alone for like 20 some odd years. She had gotten married. She had children. You know what I'm saying? So her whole life had revolved around her domestic life. And that once she became single, she didn't really know how to function in the world anymore. Like she did not have her own identity. And that is a true story and narrative for a lot of us. If you think about it, we go from graduating high school, being shaped and molded in our parents or whoever raised us in their image, and then going off to college and being shaped and molded in an academic institutionalized image, and then going into corporate worlds or starting businesses and being shaped and molded in how we interact with and correspond in the business world. And all along those paths, get married, maybe have a family, maybe have children. But how much time are we actually spending focusing on cultivating the four rooms of ourselves, which ties back to the Native American proverb, the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical aspect of yourself, right? So just being cognizant of, what do I really want my life to look like? What do I really want my life to feel like? What do I really want to wake up in the morning and my focus to be? What is my intention for my life? What is my focus for my life? You know what I mean? And really starting to, this is what we were talking about earlier in the life visioning group coaching session, like consciously creating your reality opposed to creating your reality by default. You know what I mean? And going with the wind, blowing with the wind of whatever is happening in the world. If somebody hires you, if somebody doesn't hire you, if you're able to start the business, if you can't start the business, if you might bump into, run into some people that could be friends versus I don't have any friends at all. Like the mindset of I aspire to attract like-minded individuals to me, so shall it be. I aspire to have a business that is successful and up and running within the next 6 months. So shall it be. I aspire to leave the job that I'm at right now, the company that I'm at right now, and to attract a company that, is well known for, philanthropic or, working in the community or, a higher standard of professionalism or whatever. Like, standing outside of your life and looking at your life and commanding the things that you want to take place, opposed to looking at all of the confines, the reasons why it can't happen, the reasons why it won't happen, the justification for why you should stay at the job that you hate for another 5 years, the justification of why you should stay in a relationship that you've been in for 20 years that is making you miserable, that's only going to get worse. You know what I'm saying? All of those things that we talk ourselves into. The amount of time that you spend applying yourself to other people's life agenda versus the amount of time that you spend applying yourself to your own. If you work in a company for somebody else, you work 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week. That is focusing on the goals and aspirations and intentions of someone else. If you are in a relationship and your wife is starting a business and you are helping her to cultivate that business, which by all means is absolutely needed and warranted in relationships. The flip side of that is women, a lot of times we get in relationships and we help men to create the things that they aspire to, and then we forget about ourselves, and then we lose ourselves in the relationship, and then when it's time for us to be in the world on our own, or even just to find ourselves again, we're lost because we lost ourselves in trying to help our mates or our husbands find their way, right? You hear people talk, I'm just going through my notes, you guys, so just bear with me here. You hear people talk about the higher and lower self. Um, you hear people talk about that a lot now, including me. It's just a reflection of, your affinity to love versus your ability to hate. Your emphasis, your focus on fear and self-doubt. Are you prone to worry? Are you prone to doubting yourself versus being optimistic and believing that, good things are going to make their way to you regardless? That is a reflection of the higher and the lower self. Being involved in a conversation and you hear people talking in a way against somebody else that you know is counterproductive and that you know is not really fair or warranted, and you engage in the conversation instead of just stepping off or ending it or bringing a higher vibration into the conversation. That's that jihad that the Muslims talk about, that internal war. It's not about blowing people up in a plane in the name of Allah. It's about every day that you walk out into the world, are you going to reflect the higher self or the lower self? Are you going to allow yourself to get caught up in some drama and some low vibrational energy? Or are you going to take the higher road, even if that means being with just yourself, right? So the higher and lower self is the same as upper and lower Egypt, the micro and macro energy, the micro and macro womb, as above, so below, the chakra systems, right? These energy systems that align our body, the levels of the brain, the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, 3 different levels of the brain, and how each level of those brains corresponds with our behavior, our emotions, and then levels of consciousness, fear-based consciousness, victim consciousness, winner mentality, expecting success level of consciousness, love vibration, love energy, radiating a frequency of attracting positive energy towards you because you radiate love, right? Okay. If you do something in your life or you fuck up, you have to go about it quickly. You have to go about it quickly. You have to go about it quickly in cleaning up the guilt, shame, and fear, self-judgment, ridicule, etc. Otherwise, it lingers and tears at the spirit, and it attracts life problems that match that frequency. Okay, let me read that again because I'm totally just off the top of the head going through my notes and just sharing my mind with you guys. If you do something in your life or you fuck up, you have to go about it quickly, cleaning up the guilt, shame, fear, self-judgment, ridicule, etc. Otherwise, it lingers and tears at the spirit, and it attracts life problems that match that same frequency. So a lot of us right now are attracting relationships, are attracting jobs, are attracting situations and experiences that resonate with a frequency of something traumatic or difficult that happened to us maybe 20 years ago, depending on how severe it was, maybe 10 years ago, depending on the situation, maybe 5 months ago, depending on where you were at that time in your life. But it's still, I call them energetic leaks, where these things kind of tap dance in the background of our mind and our subconscious mind, and they are affecting us energetically in a way where a part of us is still living in that reality. And so we end up attracting life problems that match the frequency of those same problems. Um, One of the things that I do with my clients is we do exercises and projects every week that are based around whatever their goals and aspirations are. If they want to attract a soulmate or change the trajectory of how they think about love and relationships and perhaps marriage. If they're in a difficult relationship that they want to rekindle and trying to make it work again, or if they have decided that they are not going to stay in the relationship, learning how to create small momentum or bits, bouts of momentum in order to move the ball forward when it comes to positive energy and positive momentum to start attracting the type of things that we aspire to in our life. So we create exercises and projects every week that are geared towards their interests, their goals, their aspirations. And through those exercises, they start to learn things about themselves. And these are what I like to call small wins. Discoveries about things that you're interested in, discoveries in it may not be as difficult as I thought it was going to be to start this business. It is doable for me now. Okay, that makes sense. I can work it that way instead of, I can just cross the street instead of going all the way around the mountain. I've been looking at this wrong, and doing projects and exercises that help you to get momentum to create small wins, and then you take the momentum of those small wins and you apply them to all the different areas of your life to create bigger momentum, to create more wins, to create success, etc., etc. It's not easy. Some water. It's not easy choosing, choosing, and claiming the life you really want when you realize that most of your life has been determined or dictated by people around you and society. What would the perfect life for you actually look and feel like? Most people do not know. They'll tell you they want more money. They'll tell you they want a better car. They'll tell you they want a new house. But that doesn't have anything to do with the type of person that you aspire to become, the type of impact that you want to leave on the world, the type of energetic signature that you want to walk the planet with, right? That's what I help my clients to discover, that energetic signature, and really, really stepping out of the shadow of what the world told you you should be, or, the limitations that you have because you are a woman, or because you are a black man, or because you come from a different country, or because you come from poverty. Stepping out of the shadow of those things and into your own personal light. Most people are running from their problems opposed to relying, and leaning on spiritually based internal solutions. That's what I do. Spiritually based internal solutions. As within, so without. This is what the great historic teachers, the ancestors, the gurus, the shamans, all of them, at the most basic fundamental aspect of their teachers, they are all telling you in one way or another, everything that's happening on the inside of you is a reflection of what's happening on the outside of your life. I talk a lot about energetic resonance and your energetic signature, what you're radiating. So, Abraham Hicks uses this word now, calibrating. And I love this word because I think it is like so on point. It's like the best word to emphasize how calibrating your mindset, calibrating your energy, calibrating your emotions to the life you aspire to and the things that you desire is your job. That is the number one focus and emphasis for creating the life that you desire, calibrating yourself to your goals. So if you have a goal to attract a soulmate and to travel the world with your soulmate and to experience the vast fullness of this life experience with a soulmate, then you have to calibrate yourself to that particular ideology of your life, that particular life. You have to calibrate yourself energetically towards that. That means you have to think it, you have to talk it, you have to imagine it, you have to visualize it, you have to internally focus on and talk about things that supplement and that complement calibrating yourself to that lifestyle. If you are focused on, becoming a multimillionaire, becoming extremely successful in your personal business or in your personal life, you have to calibrate yourself towards that goal and aspiration. You have to think from abundance in all things, not only when it comes to money, but when it comes to people, when it comes to technology, when it comes to relationships. You have to calibrate yourself into a mindset of abundance to attract abundance by way of your business or your work. So calibrating I really, really like that word. And that's what I help my clients do, to calibrate themselves towards whatever their life goals and aspirations are. People don't have anything left People don't have anything left within to do the work it takes on themselves after all they give to life. This was just a random thought that I wrote to myself on Monday. People don't have anything left within to do the work it takes on themselves after all they give to life. This is why when I said before about people who purchase, course content or, or my online courses, right? And even I've heard so many other teachers talk about this, how people will purchase the book or people will purchase the class, but never show up or never actually work through or read the book, because after everything that they give life, they just don't have anything left to work on themselves. And that is a very unfortunate and sad way of living, because self-preservation is the first law of nature. And as spiritual beings, as souls here having a physical experience, if we are not embellishing, the type of life, the quality of life that we have, striving always to be mentally and spiritually and emotionally better, for clarity, for guidance, for inner peace, for, you know what I mean? Like all of those very high vibrational contents. I mean, the idea of clarity, right? Being clear, being focused, being able to make a decision and stick with it. A lot of people are struggling, and it reverberates in other parts of their lives because they don't know how to make the decision. They're scared to make the decision. Should I stay or should I go? Should I take this job or should I stay where I was at? Should I start my business or should I stay here? Should I go back to school or should I stay at the job that I'm at? Should I leave him or should I stay with him? Is he going to be better or is he going to stay the same? Is she wife material or should I just, you know what I mean, be with her for a limited time? Like there's a lot of people that haven't really decided what they want in their life, which is the first goal. And then from the making of the decision, you get a lot of extra backup, energetic backup from the universe, because now you've given a definitive statement of what you want to become, who you want to become, what you want to manifest in your life, etc. Got to shift from a mindset of control to trust. That is critical. That's been my real master teacher over the past 2 years. The last thing I wrote to myself is this was for the presentation that I was going to do, which is my off the cusp presentation for you now. It's time to rise to the occasion of yourself. It's time to rise to the occasion of yourself. It's time to rise to the occasion of yourself. What is the occasion of yourself? What is the highest goals and aspirations that you can have for yourself? What is the impact that you want to leave on the world or on your family or on your community? Are you operating in love? Are you operating in abundance? Are you operating in gratitude? Are you mindful of how your words and your energy impact people? Are you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically focused on your internal being, on who you are at the core of your being? And what do you really want in this life? You know what I mean? What is your soul's aspirations? Who are you becoming? What are you becoming? How much time do you think about it? How much longer can you dedicate to where you are if you're stuck, or if you don't really know where you're going, or if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or if you want to go to the next level and you just don't know how? All of these things that I do, and I just kind of gave you guys some introspection on how I think. But when I work with my clients, it's very hands-on. We do an online vision board integration, as well as, weekly exercises and projects, depending on what their particular goals are. And I'm a pretty good sounding board. And I have been very, very successful at helping people using my, using my life experience and my studies and my perspectives on life, as well as like my ability to see people clearly, where they are and where they aspire to go, and like helping them in their own personal way, not anything that is, particular to me. I've had a lot of success over the last year with my clients. So I welcome you. If you are interested in investing in this 90-day program with me, email me info@zazaali.com and email me and I'll send you my calendar. And attached to the calendar will be a short questionnaire that you can, type the answers into, fill out really quickly and send it back to me. I have appointments part of the day tomorrow. I'm open. It'll be a 30-minute consultation, and see if we'd be good working together. And then I also have 30-minute consultations throughout the week. But tomorrow, Sunday, as well as a couple of hours during Monday and Tuesday, I'm available. So email me info@zazali.com, and I will send you my calendar, and we'll go from there. All right. And just to reiterate to you guys, a lot of the stuff that I talk about is in my workbooks. The Science of Sex, The Science of Self, Volume 1, Mind, and Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance. It's a lot of wisdom in these books. So zazali.com is my website. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope my voice came through clear. Like I said, I've talked a lot today. And my throat is not having any more of it. So I'm going to give you guys, send you guys off with well wishes. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. Much love. zazali.com. Peace.